Welcome to the NBA Profit Show, powered by EV Analytics. I'm John Metler. He's Adam Scherher. Adam, we got breaking news across the board. How was your weekend? How's it going today for you?
Weekend was good. Weekend was certainly interesting news-wise in the NBA.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into. So the boys are at the Super Bowl, so there's no before you bet this week. And of course, we have like the most like NBA drama we could possibly have, and probably more coming. So Saturday, Luka Doncic, like 1 a.m. Eastern, I think, Luka Doncic traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think we both did the same thing. Push notification, and you're like, Luka Doncic trade, like what? And then like I clicked on Sham's thing. I'm like, blue check mark. I'm looking at the letters of his name, making sure it's him. I'm like, what is going on? What was your reaction to the trade?
Same as yours. And then my reaction, it was like, I guess, a little bit different than most people's, because whenever something like that happens, that is just like completely crazy. Because like obviously I agree with everyone that like Luka for Anthony Davis is a wild trade, and you would think that they could have gotten a lot of picks potentially. You would think that if they wanted to, they could have gotten a young, good player and picks. But I also just kind of assume that maybe he's not the best GM, but I also assume that like Nico Harrison's not the actual dumbest person on the planet, and that there's like some sort of information that we don't know or some sort of logic behind it. So like I still obviously think it's like a crazy trade, great for the Lakers, but I think that Davis is getting really disrespected too and slept on. And like you and I were talking before the show, if the thinking for the Mavs is for whatever reason we need to get Luka out of here, whatever stuff that isn't publicly available, we don't know. We need to get Luka out of here. We're done with this, but we're still in a window where we're trying to win now. I don't know that there was a piece available better than Anthony Davis that wins games right now. Like Giannis would be the only piece that I would think maybe you could get that would fit that. And I would assume that the Bucks would rather, would probably keep Giannis. So like, that's kind of the part of it that I guess I disagree with people, where like, if you're just talking pure assets and value and everybody values things the same on the same time horizon, yeah, they didn't get max value. But if you're thinking about it in terms of like winning this season, I don't really know who they're getting who they could have gotten that would be better.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing that night. I was like going through the standings and I'm like looking at teams. I'm like, who has like what could someone else offer that's kind of better than Anthony Davis and like draft capital and all that? And like you're looking at all the pieces and like the names you brought up, it's like Paolo Banchero, but like he's not ready. The goal is like win like right now,
right.
Or like Cade Cunningham. Like you're looking at all these guys, like maybe someone like that and like a bunch of first round picks, but that doesn't really fit the timeline they're trying to get on. It was just a weird. I feel like they made those discussions obviously in secret because they said Jason Kidd didn't even know and like all these people didn't know. I feel like it was probably closer to like Anthony Davis, Dalton Connect, Max Christie, and like multiple first round picks. And then they got so deep into it, the Lakers are like, here's what we'll accept, and like kind of took stuff back. And if you're Nico Harrison at that point, it's like, we're trying to blindside everyone. If I don't accept this and then it comes out that I offered Luka Doncic, we're in a lot of trouble. I feel like that's
there's that. And then also it kind of just, I was talking about this with somebody this morning on Twitter and DMs, but like I think just feeds more into the idea that like, yeah, they're leaking all this stuff about him being out of shape and whatever. But if there's more to it than that, like there are just deal breaker stuff going on with Luka behind the scenes. The Lakers at that point know that they're taking a risk. Like when the Mavs call you and say, hey, will you take Luka Doncic off our hands? You're immediately just being like, okay, why? Like, what don't I know? And so it would make sense too for it to be like, okay, we're taking on this risk that is going on that nobody else knows about. So no, we're not giving you the extra first round pick and Dalton Connect to do it.
Yeah, you owe it. Any sport, whenever like a superstar is available in like their mid-20s, like you have to start asking questions, right? And I feel like that's probably what the Mavericks were concerned about. Like if we don't accept whatever this counter is from the Lakers and then they leak we're shopping Luka, then everyone's going to start to raise those questions of like, why are we shopping Luka? And then does that crush his trade value? Then also our fans are mad at us. Luka's mad. I mean, there's all these other things. So I think they probably got so deep, they just had to kind of accept whatever that counter was from the Lakers.
Yeah, my assumption is basically that to some extent their hand was forced by something that is not publicly available.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Second trade, De'Aaron Fox, San Antonio Spurs. You like that one?
Yeah, I am excited to see how that works. Obviously, I've Like I've never really bought into that Kings team, but now seeing Fox and Wemby together should be fun.
Yeah, the fact that they kept Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, you look at that team now, so it's like starting five: De'Aaron Fox, good offense, defense; Stephon Castle, really good defender, a path to better offense; Devin Vassell, shooter, and then I think the final piece is whatever Harrison Barnes. That's the player who's going to take that spot next. That really elevates that team. Kind of feels like the 4 of the 5 are kind of locked in here with Fox, Castle, Vassell, Wemby, and then it's like, we have Harrison Barnes this year, but who's that final piece to this team? So I thought that was a pretty good trade all around. Kings get Zach LaVine. They're just trying to stay fun and relevant.
Yeah,
I mean, they got first round picks. Bulls are trying to shed salary.
Yeah, Bulls are trying to undo things they've done for the last decade.
I saw a tweet. They've traded Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and didn't get a single first round pick.
It's crazy how bad the Bulls have been.
Lastly, we'll hit you because there's a lot of trade talk and we haven't been able to talk about anywhere else. Kevin Durant to the Warriors. You betting the yes or the no?
No.
I feel like it's gonna happen. I don't know why. My gut just says once you start to see those rumors, and then it's like the Suns might shop him. Bradley Beal is a hard no on the waiving the no trade clause.
Yeah.
It feels like the Warriors, they're really reluctant to give up all those pieces for Lauri Markkanen, but there's an attachment to Kevin Durant, and probably putting Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry together. The Phoenix Suns feel like they're backed into a corner, just not a team that's working. I don't know. I feel like we're going to see a lot of momentum on that.
Yeah, I mean, it all logically makes sense, I think.
Yeah, and there was also a rumor yesterday they have their eyes on pairing LeBron, KD, and Steph for like one final kind of run season, whatever that looks like. I feel like they probably view it as get KD at the trade deadline, and then the opportunity to convince LeBron to leave the Lakers in free agency this summer becomes a lot easier because you're sitting there with Curry, KD, and Draymond Green, who they're all friends and stuff. Where if you don't have KD, obviously that conversation is a lot harder. So
yeah, and to Yahtzee's point in chat, why would either the Suns or the Warriors do that? Like that was kind of my first thought. Was just like, I don't know, it kind of just feels like a pointless trade, so it probably won't happen. But at the same time, like the Warriors are backed into this situation, sort of like the polar opposite of the Luka one, where you have Steph, you can't just like get rid of Steph. You need to just, or they're going to feel obligated probably to just try and make one last push, even though they clearly aren't good enough anymore. So like it makes sense when you consider the, I guess, emotional value and all of that.
I feel like both franchises are stuck in do nothing and they accomplish nothing in the playoffs, do something, probably still accomplish nothing in the playoffs, but at least it looks better than doing nothing. They're both in like this limbo of like, we have a superstars, but the overall team's not working. You go back, everyone criticizes the Bradley Beal for the Suns. They basically traded nothing for Bradley Beal. I think it's the KD trade that really messed them up from like the depth and like team building and like all that things, because if they just swapped aging Chris Paul for Bradley Beal, and you had Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, pretty good team. And they still had all their first round picks and all those things. So I think they might try to reverse some of that as well, because they've lost back-to-back. I was watching last night. They lost back-to-back games to the Portland Trailblazers in Portland. They're just like sleepwalking as a team. So it feels like they got to do something.
Yeah. And that's the part that always gets missed in these like quote unquote super team or, mega star deals where guys kind of force their way to certain situations. Like everybody gets tired of it, but they also kind of act like it's like an automatic title. And it's not. Like the Suns took on a huge risk in that trade and it didn't work. And now they're set back for a while. So like, I don't know. I feel like that just like kind of never gets talked about. It's always just like, oh yeah, they gave a bunch of picks and now they get Kevin Durant. Great trade. And doesn't always work out.
Yeah. They missed on all the depth pieces. That's the really, and they didn't need Bradley Beal, but I feel like, anyways, we'll get going here because there's a lot of talk. We'll get into the picks. So Adam's from EV Analytics. They do fantastic prop projections. You can find them on the Covers website. Go to Sports NBA prop projections. You can see them right there all over the board. If you're new to the release procedure, we have 3 bets for you. We typically always do 3 bets. We'll tell you the sportsbook we're at. We'll tell you the game we are betting on. And we'll tell you the prop market, the player, and we'll kind of have Adam use those EV Analytics projections and put those numbers to work and explain why we like this as a bet. So today we are at BetMGM, Bet365, Caesars, and Pinnacle, kind of good alternate prices. So if you want to fire up those apps, the first bet, we're going to BetMGM. And we're looking for the Miami Heat Chicago Bulls game. And the market we're looking for is the assist market. And the player we're looking for is Tyler Herro. And our bet isn't there. It's in decimals, but it's the same price. It is Tyler Herro under 6.5 assists plus 115. That's what 2.15 stands for. So we're on Tyler Herro under 6.5 assists plus 115. If you see a better price, drop in the chat. Let us know. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty scary one given the matchup. But in 22 games this year without Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro averaging 6.1 assists per game, you do, again, get a spot where you're likely to convert at a little bit higher rate here against Chicago. But we haven't projected for 36 minutes. We haven't projected for about 6 assists. So at plus 115, it just ends up looking like a profitable spot, even factoring in that it is a favorable matchup and that he is likely to play a ton of minutes here.
Chad saying Pinnacle is plus 123. So if you have access to Pinnacle, that is a better number. Do you have the break even for the 7.5? Because I know there's a lot of 7.5 on the board as well.
Let me see.
I want to grab that. CJ 4 days also saying, question for Adam, was the difference in the projections on Cover's website and EV Analytics website? It's just a feed from EV Analytics. I think there is more players. I feel like the Covers is more just like the starters. EV Analytics has a little more information behind the projections and more like subs and stuff. Including, at least that's what I've noticed. Tyler Herro, Miami Heat.
I'm 7.5 is good. Minus 1.5 is good.
All right, so that's a good price as well. If you want to go 7.5, that's what you have access to. Plus 145 Hard Rock if you have it. Wow, that's a price on 6.5 for Tyler Herro. I mean, he's playing the Chicago Bulls. Defense is not great, but Tyler Herro usually sits like, I mean, this season maybe more 5.5. Last year he's more 4.5. Usually sits more 5.5. So you're up like, 6.5 plus, like big plus money on the under. I feel like also it's always weird against bad teams because it's like everyone can create. So like you think like Tyler Herro has really good matchups, but like everyone on the Miami Heat has really good matchups, like Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware. Like you could literally turn to anyone. So it's kind of hard to like pinpoint, like, is Tyler Herro just gonna be the pure like usage guy? Probably not. And like that's not really how the Miami Heat operate, like when you watch them. So
yeah, and the other thing too, like I mentioned, that Herro's averaging 6.1 assists per game in the games without Butler. The median's 5.5. He's just the average is skewed a little bit. He had a 12 assist game, a 10 assist game, a few 9 assist games. So going back to the whole mean versus median thing too, it just makes this price look good.
Yeah. So the first bet is Tyler Herro under 6.5 assists plus 115. BetMGM, if you have Pinnacle, there's plus 123. If you have Hard Rock, plus 145. Move on to the second bet here. We're going to bet 365. And we're going Battle Los Angeles Lakers against Los Angeles Clippers. The downside to this trade, neither guy's ready to play right now. So it's kind of like they both 80s in Dallas, Luka's in LA, but nobody's ready to play.
Yeah, trade deadline is low-key my least favorite time of the NBA season, solely because it makes DFS such a nightmare every day for like a week and a half.
Yeah, we're just talking about the Chicago Bulls. The one thing to watch, I'd say the Chicago Bulls is they're probably not done trading, probably going to move some more guys. If you take overs on guys the next couple of days on the Chicago Bulls, you might gain an advantage where someone gets traded, they're gone, their usage is out of the lineup. So, so the market here is the assist market, Lakers, Clippers, and we are looking for James Harden, and our price is there. It's James Harden under 9.5 assists, minus 115. So once again, that's James Harden under 9.5 assists, minus 115. Next best prices I saw was minus 120 DraftKings, minus 125 Caesars. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, the Clippers are fully healthy here, which is nice. Obviously on the one hand, there's plenty of guys that Harden can pass it to score, but we have him projected for 34.5 minutes here, projected for 8.6 assists in the games that he's played with Kawhi this year. 11 games played, median of 11 assists. So that doesn't look great here, but just projects as at minus 122, projects as a profitable bet in 34.5 minutes. I do like that we have the 34.5 minute projection there because it does at that projection basically imply a competitive game, which the game has an 8.5-point spread. And so it's not like it's a foregone conclusion it blows out or anything, but there is plenty of blowout risk here. We have seen the Clippers involved in a ton of blowouts in general this year. The Lakers obviously playing shorthanded. So there is that potential. And I like that we essentially have Harden projected to play close to full minutes. So you get that out.
Yeah, the Clippers have been like a throat stepping team all year. There's multiple, like you're talking about like 30, 40 point blowouts because it's the defense, right? They have just absolutely killed teams. I do feel like the Lakers, I feel like this is a dangerous spot for the Lakers from like that side of things because you just went to Madison Square Garden, East Coast back to West Coast. LeBron James does what he always does at Madison Square Garden. He went all out in that game, like minutes and like effort. You have a big ups against the Knicks, and now you're kind of coming home. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks full on punted that game against Cleveland Cavaliers, but you're almost kind of in that window of like, hey, we're waiting for like our reinforcements. It's a weird spot. I don't think it's a great spot. I think the Clippers, they're also at Intuit Dome tonight, right? Like the Clippers are trying to become like separate from the Lakers. Like, here's our arena. What I'm trying to say is they want to kill the Lakers in that market. They're trying to lose that like little brother image. That was the whole point of moving to the Intuit Dome. So James Harden under 9.5 assists. I feel like you said, it's nice that it's like a full allotment of minutes, but the minutes might not be there for him if it does get out of hand. So the second bet, James Harden under 9.5 assists, -115. We'll move on to the third bet here. We're going to bet 365. And we are looking for the Brooklyn Nets Houston Rockets game. And we're also in the assist market. And the player we're looking for is Keon Johnson. So we're going Keon Johnson under 3.5 assists, -140. Once again, that's Keon Johnson under 3.5 assists, -140. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly matchup based here. Like Keon Johnson should play plenty of minutes. He should be in the starting lineup. You don't have Ben Simmons today. In the games that Keon Johnson's played with D'Angelo Russell, median assists of 4. He's averaging about 3.5, I believe. But you get this matchup against Houston, one of the most efficient defensive teams in the league. Brooklyn is not a good offensive team in any way, shape, or form. So you just kind of run into the issue of like Keon Johnson's not your primary creator, not your primary facilitator, and he's basically somebody that goes out there and gets 4 assists or so per game. And then now you're going up against this Houston team that is very good defensively. You don't have a lot of guys that are likely to convert the potential assists that Keon Johnson does get, and so it just sets up as a good spot for the under.
Yeah, I think you said it best. Is there's not many guys who are likely to convert the potential assists. It's like the assist market is like 2 things. It's can he create, and he's gonna have tough matchups because it's not one defender on the Houston Rockets, it's multiple defenders. And then it's like, okay, can you create good looks for your teammates, but also can your teammates convert the potential assists? And there's no Cam Johnson, there's no Cam Thomas. They're like missing all their like better offensive guys. So in terms of like teammates converting potential assists against the Houston Rockets, I know the Houston Rockets also not a great effort last night at Madison Square Garden. And Ime Udoka called out their defense, said all of our best defenders did not play good defense. So probably going to be an emphasis on defense tonight and kind of lighten a fire on them. I don't think they'll get caught kind of in like a bad spot here. So yeah, Keon Johnson under 3.5 assists, -140. People are saying in the chat, -145 DK. So -140, 365 is your best price we are seeing. So 3 bets today. Tyler Herro under 6.5 assists, +115. James Harden under 9.5 assists, -115. Keon Johnson under 3.5 assists, -140. Adam, you want to let the people know where they can follow you, where they can get more information?
You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. For more NBA DFS content, check out the Endgame Syndicate YouTube channel.
Important week to be following Adam too, because like you said, trade deadline. So projections are going to be all over the place this week. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces. So make sure you give Adam a follow there. If you're not following the Super Bowl coverage, Joe Osborne, Jason Logan, the boys are down in New Orleans at the Super Bowl. They were at Media Day yesterday. Go check out the Covers Instagram account, Covers X account. They're posting a bunch of stuff, a lot of good content coming out there. So go follow them as well. This concludes the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. We will see you on Thursday, trade deadline day, 10:30 a.m. Good luck with your bets. Mick, play a song.